Hey everybody, welcome back. I am borrowing the internet and recording on a laptop at a local resort right near the ocean. So there's a lot of wind coming through right now. A lot of my friends in Florida there have dealt with some serious issues from hurricanes. Those of you in Puerto Rico, Barbuda got completely destroyed. But there are a lot of places that just took a bit of a hit. And that means there are trees everywhere falling on the ground. And the first thing we often do when we see trees falling on the ground is to chop them up into bits or burn them, drag them by the road. You know, the idea is get rid of them, we just got to get rid of it. But I wrote an article this morning, which is going to be published this next month in a magazine, and it's on 8 ways to reuse fallen trees after a storm. And a lot of people, I think, they just look at it as something that just needs to be cleaned up and just needs to be taken care of. And really, if you go ahead and make lemonade out of lemons, gotta get that the right way, with those trees, you can actually improve your soil and your homestead for years instead of just losing that tree forever to being thrown away. So one of the first things I would look at is portable sawmills. Do you know anybody that has a portable sawmill? Do you have the possibility of buying and using a portable sawmill? I have a friend here who makes great money with a sawmill. People are clearing some land, they knock down a bunch of trees, he comes by and he saws it. A storm takes a tree out, he comes by and he saws it. He'll take a mango tree, which you would never really want to cut down because it produces mangoes. If one knocks down, he'll take it and you've got beautiful wood inside. So your beloved oak trees, pine trees, black cherry trees, those trees that have been knocked down in storms, why not reuse them? Turn them into lumber, then make the lumber into furniture, build barns with it, sell it. Honestly, how much would people want to pay for a local hardwood? Judging by the cost of lumber, if you can sell it as a local resource and say, this came from right in this neighborhood, that's pretty awesome, and people will go for it, particularly designers or carpenters and craft makers, furniture builders, things like that, who like to support the local economy and want something different than the typical white oak and pine and poplar that's sold in the store. Another thing you can do is, if you have trees that are dropped, is you can make biochar. Don't just burn it down all the way to white ash. Burn it black and then go ahead and quench it and then use it. You don't have to have kilns and all that stuff. That's nice. You might get a higher quality biochar, but if you want to dispose of stuff quickly, make a big pile, burn it, burn that brush, burn it about halfway, quench it. Then you can potentially improve your soil for years, so the tree is not a loss at that point. Another thing is, if you've got trees and limbs falling all over the ground, you've got some big chunks of log, why not experiment with mushrooms? Fresh fallen wood is what you need. You don't want old aged stuff because it's already been colonized by fungi. But if you've got fresh logs falling, why not buy some spawn and give it a try? This is your chance. The wood is everywhere. Another thing is smoker wood. People throw out limbs all the time. Like they'll prune their apple tree and throw the limbs out, or prune a pear tree. Hickory limbs. Come on. Smoke stuff. The best chicken I ever had was some home smoked chicken that a friend of mine did with some hickory and oak that he had scavenged from the woods. He had a home raised chicken and he smoked it for a few hours and it was fantastic. And if the limbs are already there, why not take some of them, throw them into your barn or an outbuilding or bedroom or whatever, and just let some of them dry, and then you can use them later, chip them up, put them in your barbecue grill to add a little bit of flavor to hamburgers, or do the full-on smoker thing and use them. Another possibility, after the chainsaws stop, you're often hearing people grinding. You hear the chippers going. If people are chipping up wood, see if you can get some of it. Power companies coming along, cleaning up fallen limbs and things, say, hey, look, you can dump some of it in my yard. You get that mulch on the ground, you can build the gardens for years. And another thing I did with the mulch, I would just let it sit in a big pile in the back of the yard, and then after a year or two, it would rot down into really good compost, and I would use that for potting soil mixes and in the garden. Full of fungi, really rich stuff, and earthworms are in it. So just take advantage of all of the mulch that's being made right now and see if you can claim some for yourself. Another option, garden beds. Instead of using pressure treated wood or cinder blocks or whatever, and you want to build a garden bed, Take some pieces of log and use it. As they rot, they will feed the soil, bring in beneficial fungi, earthworms, and other things, and they'll go down over time, turn into rich, spongy humus, which you can use in the gardens. So just go ahead and do that. Another option along those lines is hugelkultur. Hugelkultur, you know, where you bury a bunch of limbs and bury a bunch of logs. Why don't you go ahead and make yourself a few hugelkultur beds? One of the reasons I never did hugelkultur seriously was I never had a big pile of limbs and trunks that I wanted to use. If you have that possibility, you've got them fallen already, why not use this opportunity to test out some hugelkultur gardens? You know, I have some people that swear by it in Florida. I haven't really gotten a chance to mess around with it much, but you know, people really like the results they're getting, so why not try it? Another thing is, just take those logs, just take those branches, throw them in one corner of your yard, and turn them into compost. Why not? I mean, they're going to rot eventually, right? And if you live in a warm climate where hurricanes are hitting, chances are they're going to rot faster sooner than slower. So pile them up, let them rot. In a couple of years, you go back there and start digging all that rich humus out of there and throw it in your garden beds. So even though we don't really like having the storms coming through, obviously it's been terrible. There's been a lot of loss of life and other things. There is a little bit of a silver lining in that you can reclaim some of that material. Even the bush, the brush, and all that stuff that's being knocked down, go ahead and throw it in your backyard in a big pile and use it to feed future gardens and trees. And I mean, you can get some of that lumber back into use. That's pretty awesome. Anyhow, thanks for joining me for sort of an impromptu video here from the resort, and until next time, may your thumbs always be green.